Do you love great Australian podcasts? Of course you do. Australians make incredible podcasts. And if you want to stay up to date with the best Australian shows, then check out Oz Podcasts. Look for us on social media and find your new favourite show from the Australian podcast directory on ozpodcast.com.au. That's OZPODCASTS, ozpodcast.com.au. Check it out.
If you like new stuff before anybody else, if you like to keep your finger on the pulse, if you like the future and want to be in it, keep on listening because we'll start in a minute. Techwebcast, the hosts and guests are unsurpassed. Techwebcast, because technology, it moves so fast. Techwebcast, stick around and you're gonna have a blast. Yeah! Techwebcast. Techwebcast. Let's go!
And welcome to episode 323 of the Techwebcast podcast, recorded on Valentine's Day, the 14th of February 2015. Techwebcast is recorded every Saturday at midday Melbourne time. Please rate us on iTunes and like us at facebook.com/Techwebcast. Follow us on Twitter at Techwebcast. And how are you doing today, Brad?
I am going fantastic, mate. And yourself, mate? How are you?
Yeah, doing very well, mate. Doing very well. I believe our guest has pulled out at the last minute, so it is just us today, just the boys.
Yeah, it is. Just me, you, and Jacob and Steve.
The man
so there
caves.
you go, Valentine's Day. Brad, Andrew, Jacob, and Steve. There you go. That's
wow.
how it works out sometimes.
It does indeed, mate. It does indeed. How's your week been, Andrew?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Just same old thing, I guess, this week. Just trying to get on top of things. We've got a few different things that we've been playing around with the Rewind app. So there's some cool stuff happening there, and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, been not a bad little week. So.
Good.
Can't complain too much. What about your week, Brad? What have you been up to?
It's been good, mate, apart from my internet is breaking and it's working now, but at the moment. But I've actually moved over to Foxtel Broadband and using the Foxtel Hub, which is a great device. And, it's working. Good.
So, was your other internet messing up? So you got Foxtel?
No, I actually moved over from Internet to Foxtel Hub, the Foxtel Broadband, because they were actually offering a better plan and unmetered content and stuff, that sort of thing. And so I download a lot of stuff from the Foxtel box. And
so it's just the transition, I guess you're having.
Yeah, they just turn over, and I have to get my phone line connected, and that sort of messed up. Unfortunately, that needs to be fixed on Monday or Tuesday. So, apart from that, it's good.
Good.
But, I'll let you know next week how it goes. Jacob, how's your week been?
All good, bro.
And what have you been up to?
Nothing much.
Okay, cool. Nothing much, nothing to report on?
No.
Okay. Steve, what about you? How's your week been? Anything to report on?
Nothing really big. A couple of news stories I've been working on for next week. And hopefully, and of course I did send you a message. Hopefully we can get them as guests for the future show. So if you're running stuff to talk about today, maybe we can talk about them because I got a little bit of information.
Why not? We can have a chat about that after the news story, maybe.
Sure.
All right, Steve. Andrew, I was going to call you Steve. Oh. Andrew, you checked out something on Fox Sports on the Foxtel story. You maybe get
actually. I know we do talk about Foxtel a lot on here, but credit where credit is due. They've come out yesterday and announced that they will be running the Formula One for the next 5 years. So that's not just like Channel 10 in Australia do it, where there's a 10-minute walk into the qualifying and race, and you feel like you're sort of rushing your way through. They're actually running the full Sky Sports coverage from the UK for each and every qualifying and practice and race session. So it's a game changer to me, really. It's a big effort from them. It's obviously a quite a large lucrative contract that they've had to go into to get the rights for that. And the Channel 10 is also keeping it, which is great to see, so that the people who don't have or can't afford or don't want pay TV also have access to that content. Obviously, it won't be premium. It probably will be standard definition, and it will have advertising through it, but that's okay. But yeah, so Foxtel have got Formula One for the next 5 years, and good on them. They're getting a really good collection of content, particularly in motorsport. They've got the Formula One, the V8 supercars. They've got motorbikes. They're really starting
Yeah.
to collect it, and obviously in the last 12 months, they've pulled their pricing to the point now where it's $60. You can have entertainment, standard package, plus sports, HD, $60 a month. They really have a compelling price point, and I think they're really ready for the onslaught of live streaming and Netflix and these sorts of companies
Yeah.
coming into Australia. So good on them for getting their brand and business back on track.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Now, so you reckon you'll be swaying towards getting the box installed, or are you still going to think about it?
Look, I'm probably going to think about it right now, but I don't think it'll be long before I start looking at getting the box installed because with the offering that they've got, it's a really good offering for Christy, my wife,
Yep.
where they've got a lot of entertainment and things and, lifestyle, the cooking channels and stuff, Buddy Valestro, who wants to eat some cake?
Yeah, yeah.
All those sorts of things. And for me,
definitely.
they've got a lot of the motorsport.
I've been watching a lot of lifestyle channel, the Grand Design Australia. That's a good show to watch.
Yeah, there's some really great shows on there too. Look, we all love watching our dramas and the sitcoms, and it's a lot of fun. But getting into some of those lifestyles and where they're building houses and auction hunting, and all those, it could be a bit of fun. It really can. It's just a bit of a release to watch something a bit different.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
yeah, good on them.
Talking of watching TV, did you catch Gogglebox on Thursday night on Channel 10? Did you watch that at all?
Look, I'll be honest, I didn't watch the whole episode. I did watch some of it, Christy and I. We probably watched about 10 minutes of it. And I kind of left there with the same, opinion as when I walked in, just that it's a weird concept and it's a weird show.
It is.
I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if it's for anyone.
I like it. I reckon it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. Look, I'm probably not going to get into it, but I can see how other people can. And, everyone's sort of laughing, oh, why would you watch something about people watching TV? But it is a unique concept. And in the age we're in now, where reality TV show is everything and popular, yeah, it's good. They're going to try something like that. And you might get some weird people sometimes. For those who don't know what Gogglebox is, it's out of the UK and we've got it now in Australia. You basically have cameras pointing to people on their couches watching TV. So effectively during the week, if there was a special on TV or just the 7 o'clock episode of something, a new show, they'll be watching and we've got the cameras on them and they're sitting on the couch, legs folded, drinking a glass of wine, having a yak, going, I really didn't get that. That was stupid. Why would they have done that? And someone's going, shut up, I'm trying to watch, So it's kind of actually literally being in the lounge room with someone and just seeing the silly, things that people say and do while the TV's on. And I think it's fun too if you've actually seen the episode that they are talking about because you can probably relate a little bit more. But it'd be interesting to see if it actually goes the distance or gets put in the can pretty quickly.
Yeah, good answer. What about Better Call Saul, Andrew? Did you catch that show at all?
I have not.
Mate,
I've had a few things. Yeah, I've heard. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely going to catch it. My whole Facebook feed lit up through the week with people just saying how great it is. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. I might even actually open a beer and watch it this weekend and get away. I think they've got the first 2 episodes that are out now?
Episode 1 and 2 is out.
Yeah.
Comes out on Tuesday.
Really looking forward to it. Because I actually just watched Netflix recently. I just finished watching only about a few weeks ago the whole series straight through of Breaking Bad for the first time. So I'm ready to go with Better Call Saul.
Yeah, good show, mate. Good show. Steve or Jacob, did you catch that show at all?
Oh no, I didn't see it. It's funny because Apple, you could download it on your iTunes account for free. I think the first episode or something like that.
I think there was like a behind the scenes thing for free, and then there was.
Oh, it was just that. I thought it was the first episode. Okay, I could be wrong.
That's what I thought too, but it might be in the US only, I think. But I think I read something like that as well. You can it's the first episode's free, and it's pretty good show. I love it. And stan.com.au, check that out service as well, Andrew. If you haven't got Stan yet. And
Yeah, I've had a look at the standards. It's not a bad service at all. And as I said, it's sort of, gearing up to be ready for these Netflix and other things that are coming out from the States. So, good on them. Should be fun.
do you think Netflix will be worth it? Do you reckon better content or less content? What?
I don't think for a while it will be worth it in Australia, simply because of, as you said, because of content.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced they have good enough content to be competitive in Australia since Foxtel, for example, are basically picking up a lot of the good content. It's going to be really interesting to see just what they actually have on the service and how competitive it is to the US service, because we've got about 200,000 Netflix subscribers already in Australia. These are people who are using VPN and tunneling solutions to effectively, make their proxy as if they're in the USA and using the service already. So that's a crazy amount of demand when you think about it. When you think that it's not something that's even available, people are using a firewall to get through, and they've got 200,000 users doing that. That's 10%, is it? No, it's 1% of the country's population is already on Netflix. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go in Australia with content. I think they're not going to have the content. I think Foxtel will actually own the content, and it's going to be difficult for them to get into the market. And they could even have a real problem where they block people's VPNs to make it so that they can only go Australia, and they effectively, have a problem with their 200,000 users, because if they've already got the US one with all of the content and then they block them and they say you have to go Australia, but then they've only got half the content, people are going to be pissed off.
Yeah. I was actually reading somewhere that Netflix don't really care if you are using a VPN, as long as you're paying for it. They don't.
This is what I've heard as well. I mean, and it's all political, of course. So, for example, if you're using a tiny little VPN, they'll probably kill you, and they'll go, "Oh, we lost 1,000 users," and then they'll go to the rights holders, the people who own the rights and things to content, and say, "Here we go. We've done the right thing. We've killed this particular VPN. They had all of these users, and aren't we wonderful? We're really trying to stick up for you." But the reality is, things like Unblock US, they're not going to touch them, because if they do that, they're going to decimate half of their user base.
Exactly.
So it's going to be something that will be political to see, to save face, but they're not going to go after the big ones. And that's just opinion. But I'd be surprised if they, killed half their customer base and gave them a lesser product in Australia. To me, that would be ludicrous. It's more likely that they're going to try and hold on to the 200,000 they've got. And now that it's available in Australia, or it will be, they're going to try and expand that and make it 500,000 people.
And and also talking on Netflix, it's in the news story, but I think they released House of Cards early for like 1 minute or something. Jake, is that correct?
Yes, they did.
What happened there, mate? Explain.
Well, basically, they released it 2 hours early, so 2 weeks, I should say, not 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, they did release it a bit early, didn't they, Jacob?
They did indeed.
Yeah, then people that were lucky enough to find out about it, they jumped on there and started watching some until they got it cut.
All right, let's jump into some news then, Andrew, and we'll come back and have a chat.
Sounds good, Brad. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And Foxtel subscribers are up by 4.7%. So Foxtel's discount war has seen its subscriber base lift by 4.7% in the last 6 months of 2014. This has happened mainly because of their aggressive pricing, slashing their prices pretty much in half. And they've seen their subscriber base go from 2.6 million users, which is an increase of 118,000 on the corresponding period. So the boost follows, as I said, a subscriber slashing to $25 a month, and they've been doing a lot of aggressive marketing on television as well. So that's an interesting one from Foxtel, and let's hope that they can get that even further with the pricing that they've got. They're probably going to need maybe even a 20 or 25% increase to try and cover that through. Steve, you got another story for us?
Yes, I do. This one's on the new DisplayPort standard coming out, and let me switch shots so everybody can see it on the video version. And the Video Electronic Standards Association (VESA) yesterday announced a new embedded DisplayPort standard version 1.4a that the association claims enables a higher video data transfer rate for increasing panel resolution, greater color depth, and higher refresh rates. Along other upgrades, the new standard will be able to take advantage of more advanced GPU video performance and display technologies, meaning a wider range of computing devices, laptops, and all-in-one PCs, like the iMac in particular, will be able to produce 8K content sometime next year. And on to you, Andrew.
Okay, so as we briefly touched on, thank you, Jacob, Netflix have released the House of Cards Series 3 just a little bit early by accident. Surprising just about everyone, the streaming service released the third season about 2 weeks early on Wednesday and then promptly pulled it down in a matter of minutes. On Twitter, the House of Cards handled this little glitch cleverly, saying, "This is Washington, there's always a leak. All 13 episodes will launch on February 27. Originally scheduled for February 27, all 10 episodes of the season 3 appeared on Netflix Wednesday afternoon, creating a mini furor on Twitter. President Underwood fights to secure his legacy. Netflix says in the new season's description, Claire wants more than being First Lady. The biggest threat they face is contending with each other." So I've just finished watching Series 1 and I'm about to watch Series 2. And now I know that he becomes president, so it should be interesting indeed. I actually heard that from a few friends that it went for a couple of hours, the leak. So the first start of it, some people actually got to watch the first 1 or 2 seasons, probably because when it actually starts playing, it's hard to pull it down after that, for authentication. So some people might have seen the first episode or 2. Interesting. On to you again, Steve.
Okay, we have from Engadget, Windows 10 technical preview arrives on phones. And there you go, switch the video. Ben Jonesing's, I don't know why they put this here. Ben Jonesing's to see what Windows 10 looks like on smaller screens. You now have your chance. Microsoft has just released a technical preview of the new OS for smartphones. This extra early version won't include the next-gen Spartan browser and still has a lot of unfinished elements, but I'll give you a good sneak peek at Action Center upgrades across the broad voice dictation support and better photo browser. Future test builds will also bring the much improved calendar and mail apps, unified messaging, and phone versions of Universal Office apps. And that's going to be the Windows 10 preview coming out.
Very good. So coming from TechCrunch, this article, Facebook bug allowed anyone to delete your photos. So how many photos do you have on Facebook, and how many of those are photos you never thought to back up? This just disclosed Facebook bug would have allowed for anyone with a bit of technical know-how to delete any photo on Facebook. So that's quite scary there. Fortunately, the person who discovered the bug, Laxman Mathia of India, was quick to give Facebook a heads up for his troubles. He actually received a $12,500 bounty. So certainly it could have caused a lot more problem for Facebook than a $12,500 bounty. So Facebook turned around and they fixed the bug in about 2 hours, which is lightning speed for them. And Laxman has a breakdown of how it all actually works straight through on the TechCrunch article. But the short version is that Facebook's Graph API wasn't checking permissions properly. So if you sent a request through to the API to delete another user's photo in an album and toss your own Facebook for Android token as the required stamp of approval, it blindly accepted it, and the photo in the album would simply vanish. So that is a pretty scary one, and good on the person who actually discovered this for going to Facebook instead of putting his black hat on and trying to do some damage, and good on Facebook for jumping on top of it. With technology, these things can happen. So situation averted. Steve.
And the next story is on Mac rumors. ESPN merges iPhone and iPad apps together to deliver unified experience. ESPN is giving its digital platform a makeover this week by consolidating its iPhone and iPad apps into one unified experience. The new ESPN app combines what is formerly ESPN Sports Center for iPhone and ESPN Score Center for the iPad into one app that offers universal support for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. The app also received a significant redesign and long overdue support for iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. And I believe that was the last news story, I believe.
Yes, indeed it was, Mr. Steve. Thanks for reading the news, Andrew and Steve. Good job.
That's okay without the ladies here. The fellas have had to take over, but I think we got through it, Steve. So there you go.
Good stuff, guys.
Some of the words were hard.
Okay. So, Steve, you sent me a message during the week about a guest maybe coming on.
Yes, I've been trying to. Well, now one of them I've been really late. I've been trying to catch up, and I forgot to call him back or email him back, which I did. I was about 3 weeks late. I'm hoping to get two guests to come on the Techwebcast. One which I already had on before, and I actually met him in person at the South Texas International Film Festival, and it was really great. Independent film and documentaries, and one of which was Nathan Felix. There was a documentary done on him, and he's actually made his own symphony called the Curse, the Cross, and the Lion. So we had him as a guest on the my show. So we're hopefully getting him on the Techwebcast, so he'll be heard internationally. And actually, I got an email from him recently, and I think he said he was getting ready. They're playing his symphony in another state, and offhand, I don't have my email open. But it's kind of cool because he's slowly going across United States, and symphonies are playing his music, and also showing his documentary in different states, and he actually opens with it in a lot of the locations, one of which was here in Corpus Christi, where I got to meet him.
Good stuff, mate.
And also have maybe one more guest I'm hoping to do as well. And his name is Misha Tenenbaum, and he has a website called Edit Stock, and which is a very unique idea. I haven't heard of anybody else doing this, but he actually has produced video, and most of this is from independent filmmakers. They're planning on making their own content as well. And before I get into that now, Misha, he's actually, some of his film credits include, I believe it says the Jobs movie. I'm guessing this is the Steve Jobs movie that was recently done, and the TV series The American Horror Story. Of course, my favorite is The Coven, which I watched, I believe, all of that. And basically what they do is they take, it's mainly for individuals, film producers, schools, universities, or whatever, who are learning film editing, and they can take this and download a package file that includes the script, all the raw video files, and the audio, and they actually mix it, the video, the audio all together in their own story, and then do their own color correction and so on. And they can also use that as their demo reel, which they can use to submit for when they for employment for different editing houses. They'll have something to show to clients as well, and because this is great for them, because that takes a lot of the cost out of either that or finding the actors, the scripts, the director, the equipment, cameras, lighting, and all that. That's all done for you, so you just basically go to the website and try it out. They have some sample videos. So I'm gonna be doing a news story next week on my own show, and then hopefully plan it for the Techwebcast. Well, of course, according to Brad, on a future show as well. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
Sounds good, Steve. Sometime in March, maybe that would be good, mate.
Yeah, sure. I sent you both of those guys emails, and then both of them sounded really excited to do this as well. So
definitely, all right. We'll have to set up a time in March, get them on, and have a chat about what they do.
Oh, sure.
Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. Andrew, anything else you want to report on before we wrap up, mate?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. Firstly, one news story that we didn't quite get to was the discussion or news talk this week of the Apple car.
Okay.
There's been a fair bit mentioned in the media about Apple starting to do some preliminary work on a Apple car. It was something that Steve Jobs wanted to do, I guess, as he was nearing his end. So it could be one of his legacies. The initial groundwork that he laid down. I don't know if it will be an iCar, but self-driving technology and the Apple car. So we could have some real players in there with Uber, Google, and Apple all working through self-driving taxis, self-driving cars, these sorts of things. So it should be quite interesting, the future as we see it. And I'm guessing that some of us have seen the discussion this week. Anyone got much to add to that?
Actually, I do. Now, I think I seen a picture of the car. I was kind of wondering more so it would be with something what Google's doing with its mapping. But of course, they do have all these big camera configuration, GPS, Wi-Fi, and all that. So I didn't see it on this car, but I'm guessing if Apple really did do the car thing, I would figure it'd be more toward their Apple Maps than maybe toward driverless cars. I could be totally wrong, but
well, that's an interesting point, Steve. I think some people have said exactly that. Seeing is just their Apple Maps. The vehicles that go around and take all the photos and map and do all of those sorts of things. But there's another group that are saying the exact opposite, that we're actually seeing the preliminary work of Apple X or whatever it is in their R&D labs starting to lay down the foundations for a car. So there's been quite a lot of discussion in different outlets this week around that. I think it's very early. It's probably too early to actually say, definitively they are or are not doing it. But there's been a fair bit of chat about that. But yeah, you could be right, Steve. It could just be a more recent update to their vehicles that they're using for mapping. But the Back to the Future in me wants to see it the other way.
Have you ever been in an Uber car, Andrew, before? Have you been?
Yeah, I've been in Uber a few times. It's great. You get a bottle of water in there. There's some lollies. The drivers are usually fantastic. The cars are kept impeccably clean.
Jeez.
I've had no problems with Uber, and if I could take an Uber over a taxi, particularly in Melbourne or in Australia, I would do it every day of the week without any doubt. Because for me, Uber is sometimes cheaper, sometimes dearer, but the experience far outweighs that of catching a taxi.
Yeah, definitely.
In Australia, a taxi can be a real difficult situation. Some of the drivers who are from overseas don't understand the road. They don't understand necessarily the rules. They can be difficult to communicate with. Sometimes they can be quite rude. So having an Uber come and pick you up where the person is quite usually on the same level, the same page as you, it's a breath of fresh air. And Uber in Australia are actually saying, they announced, I think, a week ago that they're going to be adding 20,000 new jobs in Australia, which is pretty big for 2015.
It's all right. What's the cost to use that service?
Oh, look, it totally depends. It usually is cheaper, maybe 20% cheaper than a taxi. One of the benefits too is the app has a great, GPS attachment to it, so you can see really quickly and easily where the nearest Uber car is to you, and you can literally click on it and book that car, and you can watch it turn left and come down your street.
That's all right.
So yeah, it's fantastic, and for women particularly too, they can then follow that car all the way to the front of the property. If it's Saturday night and at a drinking or at someone's house. Taxi, some drivers have this expectation that they should be waiting out the front when they get there. I don't know about you, but if you're talking about a young lady, you know, in a nice Saturday night black dress, standing out the front of a house at 2 a.m., that's a bad idea in most people's culture. And you know, if you've got Uber and you can see that they're turning into your street now, you can wander out and meet them in 20 seconds. That's a pretty good way to go. I mean, that alone outweighs the price.
Yeah, definitely. So how much would it cost you to go to High Point or something if you want to do that?
Oh, I don't know, probably $25. To be honest with you, I've never really checked because the cost just comes straight off your credit card, and you know it is what it is. It's $10, $20, $30. It doesn't really.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it doesn't come into it because it's probably got a lot of similarity to the taxi costs, but the experience just well and truly outweighs, you know, that of a taxi. And I know there've been some problems with Uber, like any big business. With their CEO, he had some bad things to say a few months ago. But they're trying. They're doing what they can to disrupt an industry that, if it was doing the right things in the first place, they wouldn't have a chance of getting involved in. So the fact that they're disrupting this taxi industry globally sort of tells you that the industry is broken as a whole, and they're seeing an opportunity, and that's what you know, commerce is all about.
Yeah, definitely. I might try it out one day and get one down to your place maybe one day.
Yeah, they've got coupons online too, where you can usually get $30 for free and stuff like that. So you can get your first Uber ride. Yeah, they're all over the web. Do a Google, search for it, and the first, you know, your first ride is 100% free. But you know, they're usually brand new cars.
Yeah, what sort of cars are they? You know?
It depends. You've got Uber X, Uber Black. So it depends what level. There's about 3 or 4 different levels of car that you can get. I've only taken the basic level. I think that's all I have. No, they've got the Uber Black and the basic ones in Melbourne, but I haven't taken the Black yet. But you know, if you want to take sort of a limousine style black, you know, Cadillac sort of sedan style, you can get the Uber Black, or I think the Uber X cars are usually like a, you know, a Mazda 323 or something, sort of a small mid car. Yeah. But if you just want to get from point A to point B, then why not? It's a great way to go.
Yeah, definitely. All right, check it out. Steve, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say something real quick. Actually, on Uber, it's not just good for just the passenger, but if you're a driver for the Uber vehicles, from what I heard, there's not necessarily any working hours, so you can basically, you know, activate yourself anytime you want to. You know, clock in, do it for a couple hours, clock back out, do it later that day. So, and plus I think they're screened fairly well. I know my wife was trying to be an Uber driver as well. She has a CDL license, but so I don't know if that applies to, you know, what Uber does, but there is kind of a screening process. So I think it's kind of good for, you know, all the way around.
I mean, one thing I don't like about Uber, though, is they have surge pricing. What that basically means is where there's a major event, New Year's Eve, Saturday night even, what they'll actually do is they'll set the pricing to the market. So in a normal circumstance, a trip might cost you $20, and you know, there might be a customer for each Uber car. On Saturday night at 1 a.m., they might have 10 customers looking for each Uber car. So instead of the trip being $20, they'll surge that pricing to $40, so that the other 9 customers will go, oh, $40, nah, I don't want to do that. But the one customer will say, yeah, hell, I'm paying $40, I want to get out of here. So it does benefit the driver because the driver can effectively make more money. So it's a supply versus demand thing, but I have an issue with it because I just don't find it honest. You know, for me personally, I would see it more that the trip costs $20 and first in best dressed. If you want that trip, book it the day before, you know, whatever you want to do. Putting the trip up to $40 or $50, the driver's going to get more money, but I just don't find it an honest way, you know, of doing business per se. But what Uber say, contrary to that, is if you want to get the guys out there and driving at 2 a.m., you can't give them the same money per trip as what they'd be getting at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. And I get that as well. So I'm not saying that it's totally the wrong way. I mean, I don't agree with it. I would like them to find a solution that sort of fits more in the middle. But, I see their point. If a guy wants to get more money on a Saturday night at 2 a.m., then they're going to get Tuesday at 3 p.m. because it's not the time you want to drive a car. But, they're giving it a go, and good on them for that.
Good on them. Good on you. All right, okay, that's it. Andrew, where can they get hold of you, mate? And they want to actually...
Okay, just quickly too, I just want to say that we've been playing around with the Rewind app a bit lately, and we'll be doing an update shortly for China and Japan. So using Chinese simplified and traditional and Japanese kanji character set, we've been getting a fair amount of growth in those Asian regions, particularly in Japan. And so, we're going to do a number of things to really localize the Rewind app in those areas and see if we can continue with the fantastic traction that we have been receiving. So if you don't have the app yet, jump on the App Store, Rewind, RWND. And if you're listening to this over in China or Japan, we have some localization coming at you probably in the next month or two.
What about Australia?
Well, it's made for Australia now. I mean, it's made for Australia and the US markets in English with our sort of culture built into it. But we're seeing a massive amount of uptake in China and Japan, a lot more so. I mean, 80% of our users are in non-English speaking Asian countries. Yeah, at least 80%. So
that's interesting.
So we have to go where the market is, and we're doing a fair bit of work to do that at the moment. I mean, if we can actually really get China and Japan moving, to be, blunt with you, that's billions of people. It's a much bigger market than the US and Australia, and it probably is not as busy as well with apps and technology and so forth. So we're going to be doing a fair amount of things, and I think they enjoy the silly nature of the app. It's a bit of fun, it's a bit silly, it's a bit stupid. Something goes forward and backward, and that's one thing that we're doing. So I just thought I would let you guys know that's what we're up to. This is the first announcement of that on Techwebcast. So we'll keep you in the loop with that anyway, Brad.
Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. And where can I get hold of you on Twitter and stuff?
Yeah, you can get me on Twitter and on Facebook as Cunning Drew, and you can get me on the Zafo app and the Rewind app.
Cool, man. And you should tweet more.
Yeah, I should. Twitter's a good service. I sort of get in and away from there sometimes, but I will be sure to get back on top.
You use Facebook more than Twitter, don't you?
Yeah, I do a lot more.
That's right. Each their own. Jacob Jones, what about you, mate? What do you want to say before we wrap up, mate?
Good show. Good show, mate.
Good show, mate. Yep. Thanks for being on, Jacob. Where can I get hold of you, mate?
Jazzbot326691Z.
Good stuff. You can get me on Twitter at Brad on a Techwebcast. Steve, what about you, mate? Where can I get hold of you?
Yeah, you can contact me on Twitter as Chatterbox_live.
Good stuff, mate. Good to have you on, Steve.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun every week.
And next week's going to be a big show. Next week we're going to have guests on, and we'll be back. Jody and Jennifer and people.
Yep.
Should be fun. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Techwebcast. The hosts and guests are unsurpassed. Techwebcast. 'Cause technology, it moves so fast. Techwebcast. Ha! Stick around and you're gonna have a blast. Yeah! Techwebcast. Ha! Ha! Techwebcast. Big ups to Andrew, to Brad, Jody, Steve, and Jennifer. Boom!